Hello folks, welcome to the YwRobot Breadboard power supply inspection video. This is something that you'll probably want in your workbench, so let's get right into it and get started. So what we have here is the YwRobot 545043 breadboard power supply. It's got two standard inputs. One is for USB. The other one is for any sort of battery pack connection you can have, which could be a 9-volt battery or AAA battery pack. You have your power switch. There is a locking mechanism so you can turn it on and off. The LED light indicates whether or not you're powering supply. You have a capacitor, you have your circuit protection chips. We also have a set of jumper pins over here. This allows you to set voltages for what comes out of the board. You see here you can have it on 5 volt off or 3.3 volts. To switch that, all you got to do is pull this jumper off and switch it over. Like for example, if you want to turn this entire rail off, you just put it in the middle right here on these two. And that should seal it off. Now, if you want to set it to 3.3 volts, you just have to pull this thing off and put it on these last two pins here. And that'll provide 3.3 volts coming out of these connectors here. Now, over here, you have the same set of pins. What's the cool thing about this is that if you want, you can have 3.3 volts running off one side and 5 volts on the other side. They don't have to be the same. This is kind of handy when you're dealing with Arduino stuff, where the Arduino pulls a 5 volt power supply and some of the modules do 3.3 volts. Here you have a set of jumper rails that you can bypass these entire things and goes directly to your breadboard. You have your 3.3, 5.5, and your ground is in the bottom row. Now we can take a look at the underside of the board, and you'll see that there's two sets of pins here that supply power to the breadboard themselves. These things fit perfectly into the slots, which I'll show you in a bit. On this side, you can see the positive and negative rails that'll be coming out of these things. And here, we'll just take a look around. This is your soldering. It's not too bad. It's not that great, but it does the job. It's not pretty, but again, it does the job. Overall, it's a nice little board, and let's take a look at how to mount it. Here we have a basic mini breadboard, and we have your standard rails of positive and negative, and each of these connections runs the entire length of the board. So the blue line and the red line run their respective positive and negative all the way down the board. Now, as I mentioned before, you have these two sets of pins. Now they'll fit directly into this hole and this one here. And it'll do that on both sides. So all you have to do is just line them up. See how they line up here perfectly. And just press down, voila. Flip it over, show you the other side, same on both sides. And once again, you have your positive, which runs all the way down this side of the board. And you have your negative, which runs all the way down here. On the other side, you have the same thing, positive and negative, all the way down. Now, remember, we did wire this, so it's got 3.3 volts on this side and 5 volts on this side. And that's, again, down each rail. And that's about it to get this thing all wired up. It's also very, very inexpensive, so I highly, highly, highly recommend this thing. Feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos that will be going up here shortly. And we'll go on a journey together, building all sorts of incredible and fantastic things, or things that just plain fail. Either way, let's have some fun, subscribe, and see you next time.